Welcome to the photosynthesis lab at-home exercises. This will very specifically be looking at the properties of thin layer chromatography. So we are going to look at some materials here. We've got some leaves of various colors. I've got some maple. These are maple, guys. It's legal. I've got some spinach, some I guess radicchio or something, and a little bit of I got a flower too, a chrysanthemum, right there. Some red. We've got a coin, chose a Mexican peso because I had that. Some paper, some nail polish remover, and a mason jar. So with this, we are going to do our TLC lab. It's actually pretty simple, so let's get at it. First step, you're going to take one of these leaves and you're going to get it so you can rub it with a coin. Put it about half an inch above the bottom here of a piece of paper, and just rub it with that coin, a straight line. You're going to want to make a nice thick line of leaf juice. Oh, that's not a very thick line at all. Let's try again. So line it up and give that a rubbing with a coin. So I got multiple leaves here. This is not the juiciest of leaves. And what I want to do is I want to get these photosynthetic pigments on my paper. That's nice. This is where it helps to use good and juicy leaves. So I would not recommend using leaves that you find lying around the yard that have been lying around for a while. Maybe you should be raking those instead. There we go. The thicker the line, the better you're going to get pigments. Now, I don't want to just have those purple pigments, so I'm going to take some green as well for my spinach. Lie that down around the line and just give it a good rubbing in. Rub it in, rub it in. Do not add cat. Oh, I made a mess there. That's what happens when I get distracted. All right. And I'm going to finish off with a little bit of flour in there too. Why not? See what happens. All right, I've got a nice, it's a little messy, but I've seen worse. It will still function pretty well. Now, they say do not use a marker, use a pencil to make a line beforehand. Honestly, if you can find a line and make one, it works. They say don't use a pen. I've never actually done it because they always say don't. So this time I figure I'm going to use, well, all the pens. So here we go. Let's make a line here with a green dry erase marker. Cover that with a red dry erase marker. Cover that with a blue dry erase marker. Then use a blue pen. And a black pen. So there we go. We have two lines, one made of natural pigments from our plants, and one made of artificial pigments from our pens. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab the mason jar and this nail polish remover, and I'm going to pour myself a dram here. Not too tall. It needs to be maybe a little much, just enough to get up to about here. You don't want to cover it up to the line or the pigments will dissolve in and go directly into the nail polish remover. And I'm going to gently layer that in. Remember, this stuff is stinky, so be careful where you're working. Oh, actually, I'm going to fold it in half first. We're going to make that to fold in half the hot dog way. There you go. That'll keep it from falling over. Putting it in. Fold it in half the hot dog way. And put that in as well. Now, to make it so the house doesn't stink, I'm going to add a cap to this. Oh dear, it says squash soup. And now it doesn't. And I'm going to let that sit for a while and let those pigments run up. Let's see if they're getting started already. Not quite yet. But we'll come back to that and see what's going on. The principle of chromatography is that some pigments are going to be more or less polar than others. And the ones that are the most polar are going to be interacting with the paper. So the paper is made of cellulose, which is a polar carbohydrate, and that is going to interact with pigments, which are going to then travel more slowly. The ones that are less polar are going to be traveling in the acetone phase, so we'll get them to be moving farther up the column for any unit time. Now, you may remember I had those pens, and what we know is 3 of them are dry erase markers, and 2 of them are, well, non-dry erase markers, just pens. So if I were to say these colors don't run, would it be the dry erase markers or would it be the pen? Well, I put them in the acetone, just like the did the chromatography with them, and here we have it. What you see is the down here, these pigments didn't move. Those are the dry erase markers. But up here, we have this little pen, which means the ink on this pen is more non-polar. So it will dissolve more in the acetone and interact less with the paper. So that one ran, and that's I guess why they say don't make the mark out of pen, because if you make it out of pen, you get a line of blue at the top. Now, believe it or not, I did not make the other one out of pen. I'm going to say that because we're going to see a line at the top there. And that line at the top is some of the pigments off of my maple leaves. We also see these lines on the bottom, and if you have good resolution here, we can see is some those yellow pigments up there are going to be from the chrysanthemums. So there's some yellow floral pigments, so anthocyanins. And down here, this green batch is going to be the chlorophyll complex containing both chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Now, if you want to get fancy at home, you can really get some green leaves, like kale would be the best, and really smear it on there, and then let it run this ran for about half an hour. If you run yours for 45 minutes or so, you can get a separation in the chlorophyll phase. What you see there, though, is that you do have a separation between pigments, between the less polar ones and the more polar ones. And there is some gunk stuck on there at the bottom. That is probably incredibly polar, gunk, really. But the chlorophyll will start to move up a little faster than that gunk. But yeah, we got pretty good separation on that. And that's simple. That's your under $20 lab, depending on what kind of coin you're going to use to do the rubbing. So go out, find some fall leaves. Remember, find the juicy ones, the fresh ones. Pull them right off the tree if you can. Grab a little. I use the regular nail polish personally, and that's just Walgreens brand. That was like $3. If I were you, I would use the stronger nail polish. It's going to contain a greater amount of acetone. I guess that's. I wrote that in the lab. Anyway, and a lidded mason jar, and now I get to put this somewhere. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. I guess there's your waste. Well, my nails are. I mean, I can polish my nails, and then I can remove them because that stuff will dissolve too. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the chromatography lab, and I'll see you sometime in the laboratory. Bye.